Hello and welcome to another episode of The Stream Room, the podcast about content creation for content creators by content creators. And this week it is a very fun theme, one that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time, and it is the content trap for small streamers. What should they be streaming? What should they be trying to avoid? I am Reapz, one of your hosts with the Digital Buskers.
Hello, I'm LJ. I'm here as well. I'm sorry, I'm trying to throw Reapz off with my faces.
I'm Nictacular, and you absolutely threw it. I couldn't handle it. I was just like, I was not expecting it.
Why are you trying to throw me in our own podcast?
I'm making a reason for people to go watch the video version, you know?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Hey,
Nick,
if you're listening to this just from this, you got to go to the YouTube and watch the video to see LJ's funny faces.
Oh my
I can't believe
gosh.
Nick's stripping right now on a stripper pole. What is going on? This is crazy.
I need clothes are prisons, and I need to be free.
And that's the content trap. We all want to be nude.
We were born nude. Let's keep it going.
Let's start out the same way we start all the time. Let's talk about what we've been doing lately. Have you guys had any issues streaming? Have you had any successes that you want to share and talk a little bit about? Get each other's thoughts and just generally pass them on. Reapz, how are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing a lot better. As we talked about in previous podcasts and stuff, I had a laryngitis and I'm getting over it, which is fantastic. However, I'm excited because I'm kind of doing things behind the scenes. So it's coming up to my 5 years on Twitch. And so far, it's kind of been like just getting back into the swing of things with 2022 and, you know, going to streaming and what can I do different? And, you know, it's difficult. I think we all have those moments. It's just like, what do I do? How do I make this entertaining? And in the back of my mind, it's nice to know that I've got things outside of Twitch that are going to be instituted in my Twitch around March is what I'm hoping for. Knock on wood, you know how people are with deadlines and things like that. But that's really exciting for me is that I'm doing a lot of stuff offline, which I can't show online, but I still feel like I'm progressing in my Twitch career. So more on that when it happens, but I am good. Nick, how about yourself?
It's very, very exciting, man.
Yeah.
I've been doing well, continuing on the new strategies, and that's been going very, very solid. Still enjoying Mass Effect, and just kind of going with the vibes, and it's going to be very exciting.
Man, I feel both of you so hard on what you just said, honestly. And I just want to add to it because Reapz, what you're saying about the stuff behind the scenes and still feeling productive, man, that's such a crazy thing. Like last night I released that video. The reason I'm dating the podcast, don't care if this is out late. You know what? You don't, this still works. Keep watching.
Yep.
Anyway, like I released that video that was like the reason I almost quit my 100K sub channel, right? And the reason essentially in short, you should still go watch it is that I was attaching my self-worth to my analytical successes, meaning that if a video struggled or a stream struggled, I would feel not worthy or feel like the content was terrible. And that would lead me to not make more content. And what I've learned over the past 6 months is that rather than doing that, you should be attaching your self-worth and your whether or not you're succeeding to things you can actively control, which is hilarious. I've got so many videos telling new creators to do this. And I'm a content creator and video filmmaker for the last 8 years. So I completely understand this. But at the same time, I fell into this issue. And so like when you say like, oh, behind the scenes and doing all this stuff and feeling productive, it's 100% where I'm at right now, right? Like I have these days where I'm like, this video, man, it underperformed so badly.
Yeah.
Or like if I release something else, it's going to do terribly. Or man, that stream only got 90 average, you know, which 90 average is sick, by the way.
Very
like,
good. You're like top
especially
1%.
Yeah, and I've not even been streaming for 2 years. Like
Yeah.
I'm still on 18 months. Like, but on my head's like 90 average. That's terrible. You know, like I hate myself. But in the reality is, you know, I've hired an editor who's currently editing stuff for my new personal channel I've started. I've been researching TikToks, and while I'm not going to be producing them consistently, I learned a lot, right? And you know, I've written some really good scripts. I've experimented more. I've shifted time slots, which that was one of my big successes and also big failures. Was I've learned that switching from a nighttime time slot to a daytime slowly has been insane for me. Like going to a time where which is it's so stupid, by the way, that I didn't realize this soon. Like I knew it, I just never really did it. But with Stream Scheme, I have like an 80% American audience and I'm streaming when it's 4 a.m. for America. So I switch to stream when it's like 5 p.m. for America.
Yeah.
And suddenly it's like, I go live with a title like answering your questions, then playing Mario Party, 200 average.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's there.
Yeah. It's
Everyone's
crazy.
it's like, oh my God, LJ, I love your videos. And I'm like, oh, thanks, man. You want to watch me play Mario Party? Sure. It's like, oh, cool, sweet. Let's do it, right? Like,
yeah.
And like I see some failures in it as well, like in the sense that we started yesterday's stream. So if anyone doesn't know, Reapz, myself, Ioana, and Cheeseman, 4 streamers did the Mario Party yesterday during the day. And I start the stream, right? And it's just a normal go live, like, oh my God, we hit 25,000 Twitch followers. Hog, come check it out. Let's stream chat and then games, Mario Party. It's like 150 go live clicks, right?
That's
Which
crazy.
is insane for the fact that there's
solid,
and there's no clickbait there. Like
Yeah.
I normally clickbait shit out of my go lives to get like 120, 130 on my nighttime streams.
Yeah.
And then the stream starts and I've got like 190 average viewers instantly. And I'm like, what the dude? Like I work so hard for my nighttime stuff and I don't get that until the end of the stream, right? And then like we chatting a bit. It's really fun. Get like a couple hundred unique chatters. And then we go into Mario Party and it does slowly, the average viewers does slowly dip.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not because the content's bad. It's because I'm not responding directly to chat the entire time, which is why a lot of people are there. And also because a lot of the people who have clicked are there for me, not for the game. And if I'm not really doing the game and it's not really their kind of thing, that's totally fine. A lot of these guys don't like Mario Party, and I totally get that. But it's still, to put in so little effort and just go live and play a game with some friends that I really wanted to play and get like such good average viewers, it's both exciting and also so discouraging for how much work I put into my nighttime. So that's my big like failure or success, I guess, that I've seen over these last few days.
Yeah.
It's just super interesting to think about like your demographic and who's interested, which I think is a lot of what we want to talk about today. And that's like the content trap of what our content is, who's our audience, and what we're doing to produce it. And I guess that leads me into my question for you guys. Everyone here is variety, right?
Yes.
How do you guys go about, as a variety content creator, making sure that your audience who's watched you for game A move on to game B? And have you been variety since day one? Or do you feel like you grew in one specific game or niche for a little while and then you used that to springboard into variety?
It's a very good question.
Nick, do you want to go first?
Big question as well. Sorry.
No, sorry. It's really interesting, especially in the early days for me in my streaming career. So like, especially the first 2 years, I jumped around games very often. Like I was
how often is very often?
So I've always been streaming about 4 times a week, and I was probably doing a different game. Like 3 of those nights was a different game. So I was doing about, So I was like, I'll be like, oh, variety means like doing a new thing every day. Whoa, what are you gonna expect? And so I was doing that for a while, and that like obviously didn't do as great, but I was jumping around a fair bit. And I noticed that as I started to focus on a singular game for a while, it's like, yep, I'm going to pick The Witcher 3 and I'm going to play that to its completion and then move on to the next thing. That works so much better because you're just playing a game. People are wanting to watch someone play The Witcher 3. They're coming in, and then you basically, as a variety streamer, you are using your personality as your biggest selling point, and the channel as a whole and the community. So you want to bring people in and kind of, so you get someone coming in looking for Witcher 3. They're like, I'm going to watch this person play Witcher 3. It's like, oh, this person's kind of right. They're kind of funny. They got a cool vibe, cool community. Maybe I'll stick around a bit more. And then as you go, it starts to get a bit easier. Nowadays, I pretty much do like, I either do one game throughout the entire week or I do 2. Like one game is 3 of my streams, and then the 4th stream is either a community night or another game that we do. And so it kind of gets people who maybe have come in for the main game of that I'm doing at the moment, getting them interested in something else and seeing what it's like to watch me play something else. And hopefully they like that vibe and continue sticking around. So it's kind of how evolved over time.
Dude, man, I think dude, man, what am I, surfer, bro?
Yeah.
I got told the other day, my chat told me the other day, like, you can't do bro. Stop saying bro.
Wow.
And I was
They're telling you what you can't do.
No, you live your own life. Reapz on a surfboard next to LJ.
They said I can't do bruh or bro. And I was like, no, I can watch. And I said, hey, bro, you want to get some fanny late night? And they were like, no, stop.
Fanny late night. Oh, and I was like, love that that's a sentence.
I was like, and then I had the UK audience being like, are you aware what fanny means? And I was like, yeah, like some ass, right? It means some ass. And they were like, no, I think it means something else, man. Oh, wait, no, sorry. They're from Britain. So no, it means something other than ass.
They Dick Van Dyke. I like it.
Oh, man.
It's very interesting you bring that up, Nick, because I very much started off as variety and I still do variety. I'm very ADHD when it comes to what I stream. I will have a stream where sometimes I'll go through 2 to 3 games a night. I started off doing that. I just jumped from game to game to game because at the time that I started streaming, it was a hobby. It was just something that I wanted to do outside of my own kind of work world and that I just wanted to enjoy. And then as slowly as it started to become a career, I saw a shift in terms of how I was structuring things or what I was doing. And some days, yes, there was a game that I would play for like, say, a week, 2 weeks in a row until its completion, mainly horror games, and that got a really good response. And then there was other times where it's just like, I'm sick of playing just one game, and I'd go back to, devolve back into my younger self and just do multiple games a night. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Sometimes people are more interested in your community, like say GeoGuessr. People like GeoGuessr, some people hate it. I see a drop off, and then I see it start slowly starting to come back up because people like it. I've got such a diverse community that it's very hard to cater to anyone. And I don't think you can cater to everyone, which is a big trap that I think a lot of people fall into. It's like, I can only play Fortnite because I know that all my followers came here to do Fortnite. And then you're kind of stuck in this niche of two things. One, the game may be dying. I'm not sure if it is, but I think it's a big drop off, and people start to gravitate
Among
away.
Us.
Among Us, exactly.
Among Us is a really good example of people who grew in Among Us.
Away from that game. And then there's the thing of like, as soon as you go over to another game, they're like, well, that wasn't the reason why I started following you for. So in my head, I want people to know straight off the bat that I'm not going to be this person who just plays DBD or Among Us when I come in here. I very much go to where the wind goes, where it pleases me. But I know that is detrimental to my growth. There's no way around it. That is detrimental. As you said, I think Nick's hit the nail on the head in terms of if you stick to a game and see it through to completion, it's like you can't go anywhere other than that once it is completed. You move on to another game and hopefully people come over because they're there for you and your community and not so much for the game that's being played. Some people get that. Some people do not. What do you feel about that?
I feel rough with variety. One thing I've noticed with You Reapz, and I think it's incredibly impressive, is the fact that you can still average 100 to 120 viewership, despite the fact that you'll do like 2 or 3 categories a stream. Like you'll do like just chatting GeoGuessr marbles, or just chatting We Party You words on stream. And I think that's really, really, really powerful because a lot of people can't do that. Like I know that even with doing 2 segments, I can't do that. But also my issue is that I think I have much shorter streams than you. I only do like 4 hours, whereas you do 6 hours. So it's kind of, I think it might be easier for that. But one thing that I always struggle with is the fact that I think for me personally, the issue I come across is that I'm so much better in a just chatting section. Like I'm at my strongest when I'm there talking to chat, making jokes, or I've got a segment on like a tier list or something like that. I've got distracted because there's currently a man outside my window on the 3rd floor in a tree, and he's cutting my branches, and he's just kind of looking over at me every now and then. Hi. Hey, how you doing?
That private investigator I paid for is doing good.
Open the window and go follow twitch.tv/LJ.
But anyway, so like that's what's like I quite struggle with the variety side of things. But I think you're right, both of you, in the sense that I think that playing through a series to completion is incredibly important. Like I think that playing through one thing is so powerful for keeping it. And I've noticed that with a few content creators. I'm going to name drop a little bit. 2 content creators who I really respect and who I've seen grow pretty much entirely on Twitch, which is something that, what? You can't grow on Twitch.
What?
But like they've grown entirely on Twitch without any YouTube funnels. Like there's no YouTube, no real TikTok and stuff like that. Like this is pretty much primarily from Twitch. And the 2 of them are called What If Julia and Shalula. At different sizes, but Shalula's been only streaming for like maybe even just under a year, just over a year. Guy averages like 200 average viewers, right? He's smashing it. And then What If Julia, streaming for 3 years now, but over the past year has gone from like 300 viewers to 1,300 to sometimes 2K viewers, right? Like she's destroying it, and she has 0 external funnels off of the platform, right? And I think, both these people are incredibly variety streamers, but the way they do variety, I think, is so perfect for Twitch and for how they make their content, right? They're but it's because there's no YouTube or TikTok or stuff they're making afterwards. They're very chat interactive. They're happy to have a conversation and back and forth. They do very long streams, like 8 to 12 hour streams sometimes. And they will just pick a game and they will play through it for the entirety of it until they find something that's kind of working. They'll stick to it. They'll build a really big audience. And then they'll throw in like once a week a community event or a big collab, right? With each other. Like they'll go and collab with someone else in the Animal Crossing side if they're playing Animal Crossing, or Stardew, or whatever they're doing, right? And they kind of find these little communities and niches, and they get into raids, and they do these big long streams. It means they get a lot of raids coming in and a lot of people lurking. And it's so perfect for building a community on Twitch as well, because people like just chilling there for 12 hours chatting while they work or sleep, but also because they play all the way through it to completion, right? And then people are so in their schedule of, oh yeah, every day I go and I sit in this stream for 8 hours while I do work or other things, right? I don't care if it's Animal Crossing, because I'm not there for necessarily Animal Crossing anymore. I'm there because I'm loving the community. And yeah, I'll watch them play Stardew or Witcher 3 or whatever I move on to next. And I think they have a good idea of who their key demographic is as well.
Yeah.
So they're not aggressively switching over to Call of Duty Warzone. But Julia, for example, can also switch and play Fortnite if she wants, and she doesn't drop viewership. Yeah. Because they're there because they enjoy spending time in her stream and in her community. I don't think I could ever do the 8 to 12 hours and kind of create that vibe, because I'm trying to create YouTube content from my streams. And I think that, as I've said in the past, like a lot of interaction back and forth, I think makes it harder to make YouTube content. But I think Granny in a way is another one similar. Like Granny does these long kind of playthroughs or plays through things to completion, kind of decent length streams, and a lot of back and forth chat interaction. And I think it's such an interesting factor that someone can do variety so well, but it's almost like they are niching. It's like every month they niche down. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like this month, Julia is doing Animal Crossing and she smashed it. Month before, Dead by Daylight. Month before, Stardew. Month before, Witcher. Like they'll just pick a game and that is their niche for that month. And then because they have community events, like you said, Nick, which is something I have stopped doing, but I really need to start doing again. Those community events mean that people, oh yeah, I normally come here for the Witcher, but I'm going to stay for the Friday night Marvels. Yeah. You know, and they stick around. And also all of their mods are super, super active. This is something I learned as well. Their mods are super active and they welcome people in constantly, like, oh, hey, how you doing? Welcome. How you doing? You enjoyed? Do you like Animal Crossing? What's your favorite villager? And then people will just chat. They'll just chat back and forth with the mods and other people. It's such an interesting concept, right? Like everyone tells you variety, you can't do variety. And I think that's right. You can't do variety when you start out. But there are clear cases of people doing it so successfully. And it blows my mind to see it, right? Like these guys are crazy.
Yeah, I out of the two, I met Shalula probably like the last couple months, and he's awesome. Like he's got a really good chilled vibe. Everyone says that his voice is fantastic. Like it is the silky smooth voice that's easy to listen to. But like it's like I absolutely agree everything you said, LJ. Like and it's also that community vibe that you cultivate over time as well. Like it's taken me a while, especially in the past year, to really sort of help out my mods and help us all sort of cultivate this community together. And now we've hit this sort of level of like community engagement where like not only are all my mods are engaging people and welcome people in, we've got like even my regular viewers, they're welcoming in, they're saying goodnight to people and they're engaging in conversation with each other. It's just about how that develops. And I think that is really crucial if you're going to be variety. Like if you're niching, the game is like your game is like your main content. But if you're variety, the community is especially important for helping people feel welcome and like they want to hang out. I mean, and like Reapz, a great example from you is whenever you do marble streams, like because you get like the people versing each other, you place the wagers and the bets between people, between yourself and a viewer or between two viewers. Like it really gets people involved, and that's what I think draws people out and helps them in helps them think, I actually like this place and I want to stick around. I want to be around more often.
I think it's like a hook that you need to give to people, because when people come into a stream and they see that there's X amount of people watching them, let's just say they're in the upper echelon, they're around the 100 mark, 1,000 mark, anything. What's the hook? What's going to stand out? Because you know that if you go to a smaller streamer with about 4 viewers or something, you know that you're immediately going to be identified, hopefully. I mean, if you're a good streamer, you identify the new people in there and you get talked to. But when there's hundreds of people in there chatting, it's very hard to stand out. And when you feel that you're welcome and that you're part of something, I think that you want to keep going back. It's part of that community feel. And speaking of like, What If Julia and those long sessions that she does, as a streamer yourself, you've got to know that you can do that. Because if you do say like 1 8-hour stream and then you do it say 3 to 4 times a week, but you know that you're so drained that you're literally just doing it for the sake of doing it, I think people can see through that as a viewer to the streamer, that you're there because you're having fun or you're there because you're just clocking in the hours. We talked about it before, how Summit, when he did the drops for Valorant when it came out, he was literally just there as a physical husk just so that people can get those drops and, you know, get hundred thousands of viewers and stuff like that. But for me, if I'm finding a new streamer, I want them to be engaged. I want them to seem like they're having fun, and it's not just like they're hooked up to an intravenous unit and, you know, being wheeled out for my amusement.
I think Shalula and What If Julia and Granny, I think they've got that right. And you know what I reckon it is? I reckon it's what we talked about as well previously, in the sense that these guys who do these long sessions, it comes down to how much energy they're exerting at all times, right? Like I feel like I'm not saying they don't put effort in, completely opposite of that. I'm saying they put effort in, but I don't think they're constantly just like, bam, let's go. We're pushing this. We're XQC levels of energy, which by the fact he does 12 hours is insane. Yeah. But I also think they know their demographic is, well, they just want to relax. They want to chill. They want to be a part of community. They're using this as a way to socialize and hang out. But I think the trick, right? The trick up the sleeve, the ace up the sleeve that I think a lot of creators like Granny, Cholula, and What If Julia have isn't just their long sessions and the fact that they niche down every month, do a full playthrough. I think it's also the fact that they are incredibly networked, right? As they've grown, they've openly reached out to others and they've connected with them. And then they do a lot of collaborations, right? And with those collaborations, there becomes a lot more. Their community tends to grow quickly because people are like, oh, okay, well, Julian's offline now and he raided right into Julia and I'm going to stick around, right? Or it'll be like, you know, Julian's offline, he raided this person, but he was really funny in those Among Us lobbies with Julia. I'm going to go watch Julia because the communities have a lot of cross-pollination and overlap.
Yes.
And I think those networks and those collabs are so powerful, right? And I think it's one of the biggest things about variety content is that consistency in a game, because if you don't finish it, by the way, it's the blue balls, right? Like, I think we can all agree, like, we've all seen comments and maybe even had it ourselves or had people be like, hey, is that segment coming back? Is that thing I love going to come back? Is that game going to come back? I really love that. Or like you see in the comments of like people being like, hey, Sips, can you please finish that XCOM run? Please. Yeah. You were so close. Just finish the XCOM run. And he's like, I got bored. It's like, oh, Sips, please finish Witcher 3. I got bored. And it's like you feel blue balled and you're like, well, I don't want to get invested again.
Yeah.
And so no, I don't know. I think it's really, really interesting to see people growing as a variety and figuring out their niche. And I think their niche is less so, I guess what I'm trying to say is their niche is less so a game, but more so a community. They niche into an audience demographic, right? And then they just focus on that. And it's such a powerful way for a variety content creator. Do I think everyone can do it? God, no.
Yeah.
If someone said to me, what should they do? I would say, pick a niche, focus on it, then figure out why those people are watching you, who that audience is, and then try and convert from that niche that you're in into more variety content by targeting the demographic, right? So if you grow on Breath of the Wild, you know, you can probably switch from Breath of the Wild into another Zelda game or another Nintendo game fairly easily, right?
Yeah.
If you grow in Super Mario Odyssey, you could probably fairly easily skip over and have a go playing Super Mario 64. Or if you grow in Stardew Valley, you could probably jump into playing something like Animal Crossing or, you know, any of those things, right? Like, or Apex, you could probably, well, actually, no, Apex and Fortnite, people hate each other, don't they?
Yeah. Well, that's a bit, I mean, a lot of people from Fortnite and Warzone have been switching to Apex. So,
yeah. Oh, there you go.
You never know. But you're absolutely right though, OJ. It's interesting that because those exact examples that you mentioned are things that I actually went through. So, like backtracking, like
you're just a Fortnite streamer. Hold on.
No,
you're a Fortnite streamer. And you switched to Apex?
90s
yes.
Out? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm a Fortnite bro. Duh. No, so I did Odyssey way back. I think it was probably like around sort of like the start of the year of like 2020. And that did really, really well for me. Like at that time I was averaging, you know, about 80 viewers every stream. And before Odyssey, I was probably around the 60 mark. So Odyssey was doing really well. And I did that for about like until a completion, about a month. And I thought about like, do I want to get all the moons? And I thought, I'm not a super like a, you know, completionist in collectibles usually. So I was like, well, that's fine. We'll go on to like Super Mario Sunshine because I've never played Super Mario Sunshine.
Great game.
And I thought like, yep, that'll be a pretty easy step over from Odyssey. However, there was a dip. People, a lot of people there just for first time Odyssey player. So while it was still more than what I was doing prior to Odyssey, there was still a dip from Sunshine, and then there was even a further dip when I went from Sunshine to Galaxy. And so it was a very interesting. I was hoping that it would do better, but it was just slowly dipping over time. And same thing with Breath of the Wild. Was doing amazing with Breath of the Wild. Everyone was loving it. I was loving it. And then I was like, hey, Link's Awakening was really fun. Love the art style. I'm going to try and swap over to there. Had quite a significant dip from Breath of the Wild as well. Went from about a 120 average down to about an 80, something like 70 to 80 average. So it was quite a deep dip from that one as well. So usually those kinds of things would work. In my case, sadly, it didn't. So yeah.
I think it's very common, and I think those dips are the pain of a variety streamer, right? Like this is like everyone understands those dips are the pain of a variety streamer. Like you do the long playthrough, but no matter what, when you change content, no matter how similar it is, if people were just there because they enjoyed watching you play X game, they will move on. And I think that's one of the only things. Gaming Careers is a fantastic educator on YouTube, and I have huge respect. I love every video he uploads. The only time I've ever disagreed with him was he made a video about terrible Twitch tips, and one of the Twitch tips were telling you to niche down. He's like, people keep telling you to niche down. I don't think you need to niche down. You can play whatever game you want. Audiences are smarter than that now. Give them more credit. And I was there, and I was sat there, and I was like, I'm so sorry, Pete. Like watching this video, like audiences are not dumb for not doing this, but audiences are picky.
Yes.
Right. And they are not invested in who you are first. And I think that's like the variety trap is switching, you get drops. And it's what we've said about the community nights and making that community feel is because while they're there for X game, you want them to start to feel like they're no longer there for the game. They're there for the community. And I think that comes from a mix of just chatting at the start of the stream, just chatting throughout the stream, community nights once a week, as we've talked about, and like a whole plethora of other things, right? But it's such an interesting trap with variety. But also, Reapz, you said it, and you can probably talk a bit more about it, how much you would hate just playing Dead by Daylight for months on end.
Yeah, that's a really good point in terms of, I was going to actually talk about the flip side of it in terms of, we talk about variety and how hard it is to grow on variety. And I don't think anyone out there, there's always going to be an exception to the rule. Don't get us wrong. But we know that when you're a variety streamer, it is very hard to maintain an audience or a community that are there for one particular thing. Say it's Nintendo, say it's horror, say it is whatever it is. But you got to think about the other side as well, which is, let's say that you are amazing at FPS games, right? And every day you're like, I'm going to crawl my way to the top of Apex Legends, right? Could you imagine every day, because these streamers, I think, grind it out. You know, they are known for playing one particular thing. You wake up, you go to your computer, you click on the same icon every day, and you play that game over and over on repeat. Sometimes you get the win, sometimes you get BM'd, sometimes you get stream sniped. Every single day doing the same thing and trying to make it fresh, engaging, and interesting for not only yourself, but for the however many people are watching. I think when I made that point before about I prefer seeing a streamer who is having fun rather than a streamer who is a husk. I don't think I speak for everyone because some people are in it just for the gameplay. And we got to think there's a big audience out there who are there for different niches, for different reasons. But for me, I want to connect to the streamer. I don't want to connect to the gameplay. If I really connect with the gameplay, I usually go on YouTube and check out their YouTube content. Like this was the 100 frags, type of thing. I'm like, sick, can't wait to watch it.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, when it's live, I don't know what to expect. I need to be engaged by those parameters, the viewers, the community, and the streamer. So I'm not one person who's like, I love Overwatch, but I don't want to watch it for every hour of the day. And I wouldn't want to play it for every hour of the day. So I got to keep in mind that I have to keep myself happy. And if I'm happy, hopefully the community's happy. So it's this weird thing of like, how do you juggle it? What's the best method to take? And I for one, can't say that I know what I prefer, but I don't know if that's the truth.
I think the happiness thing is massive, right? Like it's obviously huge. And I think that even just from an analytical standpoint as well, there's also, I think we've talked about previously, and people understand it, right? The major trap with growing in a niche, if you can't convert them to being there for you, is the fact that if you try to do anything else, your viewership tanks, right? And we've talked about this, I think previously. I mentioned Iwana, who's an amazing streamer. I honestly lurk in her stream so often, despite the fact that I barely play Animal Crossing. I can play it once every 6 months, but I still enjoy just chilling there.
Yeah.
And it's the problem EO has is that no matter if they try and do a different category, and I don't know if this bothers EO, I don't know, I haven't talked to her about it, but if you look at her analytics, you can see that, you know, Mario Party, suddenly it starts dropping off. You know, does a cooking stream, kind of drops off a little bit. And that's not an insult to them at all. It's just when you niche down so heavily into one category, and so many other streamers have this issue, the moment they try and do something else, their viewership just disappears, right? And it's because they haven't cultivated the community yet. And I think it's one of the things that I'm very blessed and very, very, very positive when it comes to this, because the fact that I can go live and I can usually average pretty much 90 to 100 viewers no matter what I'm doing.
That's awesome.
Right? Like, and I'm so happy with that, right? Like,
that's really awesome.
I can sit there and play Skyrim for 4 hours and have, you know, 3 or 4 active chatters while most people lurk, and I'll still have 100 average viewers, which is insane, right? Like that is, I'm incredibly lucky for that. And at times I've been disappointed, but I shouldn't be, because that's great. As a variety streamer, I get to do that.
Correct.
As your minimum baseline, it's fantic.
You just got to follow LJ. Anyone watching on the YouTube can see that LJ just got to follow.
I'm sorry. I got to turn my alert box off. I'm sorry. I didn't.
No,
I thought it was all off.
I saw double LJ. This is great.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, it's because I obviously use my full OBS setup just to do it, and I got to turn that off.
No, I love it.
Hey, thanks, Stream Scheme viewer. God damn it.
The person's like, oh my God, I'm famous.
You got your name on screen. No, blur it. Blur that.
I'm going to cut in on it. I'm going to be like, thank you, ex-viewer.
Zoom in.
That'd be great. Yeah.
His name was Radio Spirit.
Radio Spirit, honestly, thank you so much for being the first viewer ever on the
special guest. Special guest. Man, that's sick.
You did it.
I think on the topic of variety and stuff like that, I think this is something really interesting about YouTube as well. And we haven't talked about this on the podcast. We've talked about this just in like chats that we've had just naturally as streamers and creators, is the fact that YouTube is this kind of like, and TikTok as well to an extent, is they play this kind of, the way the algorithm works, the way the clicks work is that you build a core audience, right? So say you release 6 or 7 guides for Super Mario Odyssey. And then you've got your core audience. So you get 1,000 subscribers from that. If you release a video that's a let's play of Skyrim, it's very unlikely those 1,000 subscribers are going to click that, right? Like you need to understand your audience and your viewer demographic and then appeal to them, which is what Small Ant did. He released a bunch of guides, got his little base of subs, and then he released some really clickable videos called like, I think the first one was, I tried to beat Super Mario Odyssey blindfolded, which I think is such an amazing title because it's so clickable, and it also sets up a premise super easily. It makes everyone who was already interested in his Super Mario Odyssey guides, right? Like that made them interested because they wanted to know guides and they wanted to see this guy. Holy shit, this guy maybe did this. Yeah. Incredibly shareable. And you wait to the end because you want to see if he manages to pull it off, right? So that's like one of those things. But the other issue you struggle with is the fact that by niching on YouTube the fact that because YouTube forced you to niche so much, because you need those clicks, you need those early audience clicks. If your audience doesn't engage with it, YouTube says this is a bad video or this video isn't interesting to X audience. So there is no point sharing this out to new viewers, right? And so it kind of creates this concept where on your YouTube channels, you start to have to intensely niche down over and over and over to feel your audience demographic. And now partly you can fix this by, if you are a variety streamer, you can fix this by, you know, building a community, of course. And also it's about your packaging. You have to package everything perfectly, but you still have to be careful about understanding your audience demographic. I don't think Small Ant could upload a Warzone video right now and it perform anywhere near as well as him doing a Pokemon challenge because it's still in Nintendo. Yes. Right. And I think that's one of the most difficult things as a creator who's a streamer, who's a variety streamer, is that if you're not growing on platform, like on Twitch, because of your variety content, maybe you can't collab enough, maybe you can't do long enough streams, maybe you're just struggling to meet your audience demographic. If you then choose to go to TikTok or YouTube, both of those platforms require you to niche down so heavily to appeal to your audience that it becomes incredibly difficult to grow a variety channel. And I think that's one of the biggest traps as well, is the fact that if you're going to attempt to build an audience on YouTube, you kind of need to pick and go, who am I making content towards? Am I making it like the Point Crows and Small Ants of the world? Am because a brand new creator can't do a Call Me Kevin. Like they can't do any game they want unless, you know, they've got some sort of base already. Like the only reason why I'm variety on my personal channel is because I have stream scheme, right? So it's like,
Yes.
I don't need to have all my growth in one basket because stream scheme allows me to have that. But it's so difficult, like this whole variety versus niche thing. And it's the other major issue though, is that if I only uploaded Odyssey videos on my channel, built a niche, went from there, or I only uploaded Breath of the Wild, then I have to wait a long time before I have enough audience authority to release a video that isn't in those demographics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even Point Crow suffered from this a little bit in the sense that he released his science experiment and it kind of underperformed for him, at least from his tweets and things like that. Him being like, hey, did you want this on this channel? Should I make a new channel for this? What do you guys want? Like, are you okay with me uploading this? And like he changed the thumbnail a bit and he changed the title a bit to try and make it more clickable. And just when people take those actions, usually it says that they wanted this to perform better, right?
Yeah.
Could be conjecture, but that's what it is for me. I change my thumbnail and title if something hasn't performed well enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I just think it's so tough because we don't want to niche down. We want to enjoy ourselves and we want to make whatever we want. But variety is so much harder. Like it is so much harder, isn't it?
It is really tough. I think like these days, a lot of the streamers you see growing quickly, like Dead by Daylight is a very popular category that people choose to grow where they niche down in Dead by Daylight. And I've seen so many Dead by Daylight streamers that niched once they got partner, then started to either just drop off Dead by Daylight completely or just make it a very one time a week thing while they finally start to variety out. And you always see the numbers dip because like they're trying to move away from Dead by Daylight. Or you see a lot of people growing through in the horror category as a general thing. So it's like they're just going from horror game to horror game because people like watching people play horror games. They're not entirely, focused on a singular horror game. They're just like, yeah, they like horror. They like watching people get scared. So horror games in general, also another category that does really well. You see people grow in very quickly. Something I want to add, going sort of like with the sort of growing on the YouTube versus just solely on Twitch. I've got two friends of mine that have both niche in Apex. From day one, for both of them were streaming Apex. They started at different times, but one of my friends, she just achieved partner. She's amazing, and but she pretty much only focused on Twitch. And she was streaming, for, I think she's been going for about 2 years now. And
so what was the username, if you can say?
Yeah, so her name's Miss MDK. She's fantastic. She was in my grassroots period from last year, at the end of the year.
Okay.
And fantastic. The grassroots also was her big boost that she needed for herself as well. And I feel like she is able to, what she does is she does it so well because she loves Apex. She's easily able to play it multiple times a week, and that's all she's been doing. She loves it. And the great thing about it is when she's in game, she's focused, she's trying to perform at her best. But when she dies or between games, she's actively talking to chat, engaging with people, going on stories and conversations. And sometimes if she gets on a story or there's a good conversation happening, she'll cancel like queue to continue talking about it.
Very smart, very good.
Yeah, and then once that kind of has reached its end, then she'll start queuing again. So she's kind of really found that balance where it's like people came in, they obviously come in for Apex to watch her play Apex, but she's got a good community vibe and people enjoy interacting with her when they get the chance to outside of that gameplay. And so she's finally had that success, which has been really great to see. And then another friend of mine, Storm RNG, she has been phenomenal where from the get-go, she was making YouTube content for Apex. Like she was doing guides, she was doing, a few kind of special little highlight clips from Apex and kind of all this Apex content, like making clickable thumbnails and titles. So she was doing that from the get-go as she was streaming, and she grew very quickly within a year. And then, yeah, she got to the point where she's started to pop off. And then she was like, yep, this is getting to the point I can quit my job and do this full time. And she's just been killing it ever since. So it is possible, but YouTube definitely helps, especially if you've got a plan and you can balance your time well. It'll really, really help you out.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing as well in terms of, we always talk about the fact that we need to funnel other avenues in. You can't put your eggs all in one basket of Twitch or YouTube or whatever. You've got to branch out. Like if you're a content creator, you can't just stick to your bubble because the bubble will burst sometimes. And where do you go from there if all your, everything that you've invested is in one platform.
Among
I was
Us
going to say,
again.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. We're doing a thing right now with the podcast. Like, this is our chance to kind of branch out and hopefully take on other avenues and things. So you can see us actually following through with what we're saying, which is always nice. Sometimes you see people who give advice and don't follow through. But I think in terms of you, oh God,
I mean, sometimes it's hard, man. Like, it's hard to look at yourself and be
everybody
like,
look at LJ. Everybody cut it on LJ. Great. Okay.
Yes.
I'm just a really anxious guy. Sometimes I don't take my own advice because I'm scared.
The guy was right. If you can't do teach, he was right.
Oh fuck!
Oh God. But that's what I was also going to touch on as well is the simple fact that I get major anxiety at times when it comes to picking a new game. Like, I know that you can see yourself kind of. I'm not sure if it's the same with you. I'm sure you know this, but there's times where you stream and you're like, wow, that was really bad. I didn't feel like I was myself. I didn't feel like I was true to who I am, type of thing. Like, I just felt out of it, like in a funk when I'm streaming, right?
Yeah.
And then
a question: do you tell chat if you're feeling off? Do you tell your community, or do you put it on, act positive, and then wrap up stream, whatever, and then come back to it trying to feel better?
I like to, back in the day, I would just put on a front, like a mask. But now I'm a lot more open and say, guys, I'm sorry. I'm a little bit, salty or whatever today. And I hope you can bear with me. I'm usually not like this. It feels weird saying that. It's like I've got to prove myself to them or, like get the validation. But I do prefer being honest. I think that's just a better thing to do all around, because then it's a truth and there's a trust there as well in terms of, it's not because I don't want to stream. It's just because I'm not doing well today. You're not going to be entertained. It's going to be awkward for both of us, type thing.
100%. Since day one, I've always made sure to be like 100% honest. Like, if I'm not feeling good, I was once about to have a panic attack while playing Terraria, which I know sounds stupid and people can make fun of me for that if they want. But like, I was sat there and I was like, this content is so trash. I don't deserve to have the amount of viewers I have. I don't deserve to have anything. This is so stupid. And I just said, guys, look, I'm really struggling right now. Can we just play marbles? Yeah. Like, I was like, I'm going to have a panic attack if I keep trying to play Terraria because I'm just not feeling it. I'm struggling so much. Can we just play marbles? And my community was like, yeah, absolutely. And since day one, I've always been super straightforward with them and honest with them, right? Which is so funny because I get called fake so much.
Really?
Like, the YouTube comment section on my stream scheme videos say, I joined your stream and you're clearly too happy. You need to stop smiling. You're too positive. It's so fucking crazy, right? And I have my dream job. Since I was 14, I have wanted to entertain people as a stand-up comedian, as all this stuff, right? Like, it's like, and I always say back to them, you watched 5 seconds and called me fake. Anyone in my audience knows for a fact, if I'm not feeling it, I'm not feeling it. Yeah. Like, I won't put it on. And it's like, and I'm always right. And I wrote back to someone once saying, I don't know why you're so emotionally constipated that you think that someone being positive is a bad thing. Yeah. But please never come back to my chat.
Nice.
Because I was just done with it. Yeah. And then this other dude was like commenting on my Twitter being like, no, you're clearly fake. You lack charm and charisma, all this stuff like that. It's unsettling how positive you are, all this stuff like that. And then he comes back when I'm doing a thumbnail review stream and goes, I've submitted 3. I'd love to have your thoughts. And I wrote back to him. I said, mate, I'm not going to do multiple for each individual. And secondly, I don't think I feel comfortable giving you feedback when 3 months ago you called me fake, said I was too happy, and that my smile was unsettling. Like, I said, it may not matter to you, but people remember that stuff and they think about it, right? And he wrote back, well, I won't retract my statement, but it's your show. I don't think I'm wrong. And I was like, I'm not going to reply to you. He doubled down. Like, and I was imagining, and this is a guy who wants to be a content creator, right? This is a guy who wants to be a content creator. If he had someone constantly, or even just every now and then saying to him, hey man, I just think everything you're doing right now is clearly fake. Your personality intrinsically is off-putting. Something you cannot control, something that isn't constructive feedback whatsoever, is disgusting. I don't like this. This makes me unsettled. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, I think you need to change that. Which would inherently, he's saying he wants me to be fake, right? Like, that's what it is, right? Yeah. Like, he's saying he wants me to be fake. He wants me to be different.
He wants you to form to his or her idea of what a
I
streamer
was
should
his.
be.
No female has ever been mean to me on the internet.
Oh, okay.
Because I think every single female streamer realizes, and this is a whole fucking podcast if we're going to get into this, but every single female streamer on the internet, they're not cruel or mean because they've had to deal with the fucking trolls and the terrible people on the internet.
I'm going to write this down
absolutely.
As a topic just for future planning. So stick around, guys. Hit that subscribe button if you want to hear this topic be delved into more, because that's a very good point.
And while we're at it, if you guys have any suggestions, comment on it. Let us know what you want to talk us want us to talk about too.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it's super. I just think it's like that being honest with people about how you're feeling is such an interesting thing to mention, Reapz. And I think that's a big part of my content lately is not being thrown off, right? Because as I've mentioned multiple times, is that I do so well in my just chatting sections, right? Like that's why people follow me. People are there for my just chatting sections most of the time. But I like gaming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I want to play games, and that's so funny. I think I have the different problem to most people is that most people, their audience is there purely for X niche game they've joined.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, people are mostly there for me in my just chatting section. And the moment I turn a game on, they're like, like they just go to sleep, which is totally fine. But like for me, I have to work really hard not to be thrown by that because I don't lose viewership.
Yeah.
I just lose activity.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And
That's
like,
a big thing.
Yeah.
During Mario Party, I lost a lot of activity. But the moment I ended Mario Party, I had like 10, 15 people suddenly pop up in my chat and be like, that entire time I was smiling ear to ear. Please do more collabs with Reapz and those people.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
If I can jump in very quickly, just not to ruin your point of view, but that's the thing that I find when I do collab streams, I love doing collab streams. One, because the kind of weight is lifted from me, where it's not just all me carrying
100%.
it. Yeah. And it's also expanding my community to other communities and their communities coming to my community. It's like this big old mesh thing, which I love. But my activity in the chat does drop. My viewership, not so much. It'll go up and down, obviously, but my activity does drop a lot because they know that I'm talking to people, you know, who I'm playing against. And obviously it's more kind of like, it feels like more like a TV show. That's probably a bad analogy, but
no, that's 100% right. That's spot on.
Yeah, it feels like that this is a storyline and there's an ending here. And my ending was that I got screwed over and came in third place. Next spoilers. And LJ attacked me and my own community gave him bits to attack me. We won't talk about that.
Reapz' community gave me about like $12. They gave me $12. Slowly $12 over like 30, 40 minutes just of bits being like, end him, end Reapz, destroy him, destroy him right now.
Absolutely fantastic.
And Reapz was like, who is it? Tell me who it is. And I'm like, I'm not gonna knock. I'm not gonna knock. And then the guy drops another 200 bits and says, name me. And I was like, all right.
Witness me.
Say my name. Wow.
Heisenberg.
You know you have an amazing community that like equally loves you as much as they equally hate you. Like and they're just willing to screw with you.
If I'm your friend or you're my friend, if you don't tease the fuck out of me and I can't tease the fuck out of you, we're not really friends. We're just acquaintances. You know what I mean?
Reapz being a bit parasocial with his chat. He called them friends. Reapz is chat bullying it. Shutting down.
I love each and every one of you, okay? You're all special to me. But onto the point of like, you're completely correct there in terms of collaboration stuff. My biggest anxiety is when it is a stream that I know that it's just going to be me on stream. And I don't know what to play because I just don't feel like playing anything. And I don't have like a concept that I can put in my just chatting segment. That's when I have sleepless nights where I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to entertain these people or why they would want to come back. It's like you said about you feel like a panic attack's coming on. I remember, I think I talked about this in a previous podcast, but very briefly, I was going for my partner push and, you know, everyone's like, you know, do the grind, yada, yada, yada. And I was feeling it. And I remember I had to literally stop and go, sorry, guys, I just need to use the bathroom. Went out to the bathroom and I literally just felt ill. Like I was dry heaving, gagging. I because I thought this is my first ever chance of becoming a partner and I'm blowing it. I'm fucking blowing it, you know? And it's just, and that also gave me that revelation of this means so much to me to create a career that I control. But I also know that because I control it solely individually, all the stress is on me. If I fail, it's because of my own failures, my own mistakes, and things like that. And we know that people trend differently. People find like one stream and they go, this person's amazing. And then they find another stream and go, this person's amazing. And they move on. Life happens. They move overseas. They have a family, you know? And if you don't grow your community as fast as you're losing your community, I shouldn't say losing, but, you know, people are living their
velocity.
lives. Yeah,
your
exactly.
velocity of growth versus your velocity of falling. Yeah,
exactly that. You know that that's going to come to a head and you're not going to be able to do it anymore. So that's what always stresses me out, because I want to make it entertaining each and every time. But when you do the maths, there's 52 weeks in a year. I stream 4 days a week, 4 times 52, you know, 208, something like that. I've got to come up with 208 ideas a year to keep people entertained. And I don't play the same game each and every time. The best time for me was when Resident Evil Village came out. I loved
I loved your Village streams.
Oh, thank you so much, man.
That was like early days of when I'd started, like because you reached out to me, you were like, hey man, let's do a collab. And I was still like, really like, I was pissing my pants at the fact that doing anything, because I was so like, I hadn't done collabs. I hadn't gone outside my box. I was just like, I am a routine Andy. Yeah. Right. Like that's what I do. And like you reached out to me. So I started kind of like getting your vibe, figuring you out. And I watched your Village streams. They were so good. Thanks, I remember watching you fight Miranda at the end, and I was in your chat. It's like the first times I started talking, and I was in your chat being like, hey, Reapz, you know you're supposed to not get hit? And you were like, so pissed. And you barely knew me at this stage as well. So you were just like, all right, well, you know, whatever. But like, yeah, man, what are you doing?
Well, I respected you, man. So I was like, I know that you're doing this for content. So I was like, that's great. But I was so pissed at Miranda. I was playing on the hardest difficulty at the time. I was so freaking pissed. But the good thing about it was Resident Evil Village. I know that's my niche. I love horror games. I love Resident Evil. It's a playthrough. I'm going to do it through beginning to end. And I know that it's not going to be like, I'm sick of this. I'm going to play something else. And people loved it. People really loved it. But the thing is, with those games, there is an end. You know, when you get your Breath of the Wild, you know, oh, I got a good few, maybe 100 hours in here. But when you see it creeping up on the end, there's this thing in the back of your brain going, what do I do to maintain this? How do I subvert them over? Like you said, Nick, and it's so difficult.
So hard. And it's like, it's the most stressful thing ever. It's like, and especially like that first stream that you're like switching to something new, it's like, it's so nerve wracking as well. And like what you said about like, just when you're like that first time you're on that partner push, where it's like those numbers, you're really getting close to that 75 average on like the path to partner achievement. Like, or, you know, like it just it takes hold. Like you can ask any person who's gone through that, and they will say the exact same thing, is that it just takes hold so hard. Unless like maybe they, you know, unless they're sort of like, even if they're niching and they know like they're not going to be switching games, it's still stressful. They're worrying that like, okay, yep, I'm on a good rhythm, good momentum. I just need to keep this going, and then hopefully we can get there. But it's still tough. I hate how much it takes hold of you and just makes you feel sick, and like times like, you just feel like miserable because you're like, oh, I just want to get over this hurdle so I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, dude, there are two massive things in that I want to mention here, and these are crazy, like on topic for what you guys are talking about. The picking a new game, right? I think I do this. I did this thing for a while, and this is one of the reasons why I heard a lot of my viewership, and I've had community cycles a lot as a variety streamer. Is also because people are small streamers who watch me, and so a lot of small streamers will get into streaming. They'll do it for a few months, and then they'll find out it's not actually really for them. They liked watching streams and the idea of it. They don't like producing. So they'll stop streaming, and if they stop streaming, they'll probably just go back to watching their favorite streamers rather than me, right? And that's fine. But the picking a new game thing for me is there's the panic that you said, and the panic I think is not just in the picking and moving into it, and it's what Nick said about that first stream, but it's also right after that first stream, because if you switch right after that first test stream, unless the test stream is really fucking bad, right? If you switch right after that, again, it hurts. It is going to do way worse. And it's almost like you've got to, like, as a streamer, when you switch from a category to a new game, a new playthrough, a new something like that, you're going to have a little bit of a dip. But you know what? You need to nut up, and you need to like commit to the new one, as long as it wasn't too rough. Because if you switch too quickly, it hurts you further. Yeah. And that's my biggest thing, was I would try something new. It would sort of underperform for a little while. And this is during my like really anxious few months. And I'd be like, oh shit, that underperformed. I guess people didn't want that. And then I switch again after 2-3 streams. And then people are like, well, I'm feeling blue balled. No one finished what I was doing, right? Like, why didn't he finish what he was doing? I liked that. He tried this new thing. And people would be like, hey, is auction not included coming back on Friday nights? And I'd be like, well, not really. It was underperforming. And they'd be like, oh, I really liked it. And it hits you because you go, fuck, my audience did really like that, right? It's just like, but I was paying attention to the analytics, you know, and I fucked that up. And that's my big thing this year is I want to do longer playthroughs.
Yes.
Right? So I'm going to be doing my Monday streams where it's collabs and fun events. My Friday stream is going to be community nights. But then those Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night streams, I'm going to do like 45 minutes of just chatting.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to do 4 to 5 hours of Skyrim survival, right?
Nice.
This whole first month until Pokemon Arceus comes out. And then when Pokemon Arceus comes out, I'm going to switch and I'm just going to be doing Pokemon Arceus for the next month. Right.
Dude,
and I feel like 3 weeks of Skyrim is fine, right? Like 3 weeks of Skyrim survival, fucking around is enough. I'm not going to beat Alduin. I'm playing a guy who only uses a fishing pole to fight people. It's fine. Right. But then the second thing on the partner push.
Yeah.
This is the biggest misconception I have to deal with small creators. They think that partner is the same as affiliate. You reach that goal, that achievement they've set, and you get it. And the reality is, it is in no way similar. Partner is if you get to 75 average and you have these things, we will consider you if you apply. Yeah. But the reality is, unless you're averaging 120 organically or have some big social media or have some big value to add and you write a really good application letter, because there's an application letter they don't realize, they will reject you. It's not against your content. It's not against who you are as a streamer. It's not a personal attack. I got rejected 4 times. Oh no, 3 times. Something like that, right? And it's just one of those things. And also, my first 3 letters, super humble. My 4th letter, I was arrogant as fuck. I was like, the things I will do on this platform. Yeah. I was like, I promise you, with a partner tick, it will open so many doors for me to connect, network, and do things. I will do so much to make Twitch and do things on Twitch. I was so arrogant. And you know what? They accepted me when I had that confidence, when I showed them this intense value, right? Yeah. But here's the thing about partner. You should never focus on it, especially as variety content creator. And I had someone reach out to me and they said, I'll paraphrase this. They tweeted this, they DM'd me this on Twitter, and I don't normally open my Twitter DMs because they're all privatized. So I have to like accept the DM. Gotcha. But this particular person, I was like, you know what? They're working really hard and I want to give them help here. And they said, hello, you probably don't remember me. I did. I remember most people, just throwing it out there. And they were like, here's my username, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying for partner. I'd love some feedback. I'm very, very near. And they were super near. They were like 70 average consistently for the past month. And they'd have spikes where they, without a raid, they'd get like 100, right? They were killing it, right? And they were talking about how they really want to get it and their schedule's this and that, blah, blah. And I just wrote back, hey, I don't normally accept DMs, but I wanted to help with this because I think it's really important, especially because you've worked so hard to build a community. The biggest advice I can give you is not to focus your sights on partner. It seems like all of your goal right now is to reach partner. The 75 average isn't really true. They often won't partner unless you're 100 to 120 consistently or have a lot of value in a different area to hold. Almost every single Twitch partner I've spoken to gets rejected 3 times minimum. And almost every single time someone reaches partner, right after, they see a massive drop in viewership. This is called the partner drop. Sounds like you're working incredibly hard. Focus on keeping up what you're doing and find out why your community is watching and double down. Don't worry about partner. You got this. Just focus on content creation.
That's right. Nice.
And the reason I say all this is because it's true. There's a massive partner drop. Like everyone sees a drop at some point right after partner. Yep. And it's usually not an insult to your content. Your content hasn't changed. It's just that you push your community, you set these goals, you push. And when you get there, they realize after the hype dies down, nothing has changed. Yeah. Yep. This hasn't made the content crazier. And also, you as a streamer relax a little bit. And when you relax a little bit, the content doesn't slide to be bad, but it becomes a little less, always on. It becomes a little less eventized, right? Yeah. There's no hype moment. It's not like, it's kind of like Miskiff's chat playing Pokemon. Yep. Or Twitch chat playing Pokemon. When those things happen, there is so much hype there. They blow up. And then once you beat it once, it never really feels the same. You know? Yeah.
They like the worst, I feel like, and because I've seen it happen in the past, like people, they used to like, I used to be running rampant like 8 years ago. It was like people putting partner push in their title and
it still is real bad.
And like on Twitter as well, like people talking about showing like their statistics like really often and stuff. It's like, no, just don't worry about it. Don't mention it. Focus on what you're actually doing. And then you're going to mitigate that drop so much better. Like, whereas like, if people are focusing on that, then that's what they're going to do. And like viewers these days are smarter. They understand like, when people are getting close, like they're going to do their best to throw a lurk up and, if they can't be there actively because they want to support you and that kind of thing. But the thing is, if you build that existing sort of that culture of just, you know, focus on the content, obviously supporting you, that you talk about wanting to grow, but it isn't, I want to hit partner, I just want the check mark, that's it. Like, you know, there's a brick wall, after the check mark. You just talk about just wanting to grow in general. People will then vibe with that, and even once you get that tick, they'll be like, yes, they'll celebrate it, this is amazing. But then they will just, it's like, yeah, cool, this will just open new doors. It's not like anything major's changing. People won't just leave because you've just talked about wanting to grow and have fun and enjoy the content you're making.
Yeah.
So you can mitigate it that way.
It's so strange.
Yeah.
It's such a strange concept, because we learn our entire time not to focus on our analytics. But then like these little achievements and these badges that Twitch offer you up, and people just become absolutely obsessed with it. One thing that's also happening on the topic of rampant path to partner stuff, and I'm pretty sure this is actually against terms of service, because this is inflating your analytics for your application.
Okay.
What happens is when someone raids into someone on path to partner, someone close to it, if you raid them, they'll often say, thank you so much for the raid. Hey guys, do you mind just hitting F5 or just click on my Twitch username again so that you come back in without the referral link in your URL.
Yeah.
And the reason they do this is because Twitch doesn't count raids towards your partner application.
It's organic.
Because if you get 3,000 viewers raided in every few weeks by Small Ant, they won't count that towards your average, because those are referred views. So they do the refresh. But the problem is that if you're doing that refresh, even if you organically are still getting the numbers, Twitch won't take that seriously, because they can see when the refresh happens. They can see what you're doing. Yeah. And it's actually against terms of service, as far as I'm aware, to try and inflate your numbers. And it happens so often. I raid so many small streamers, and they'll be like, or like path to partner streamers, and they'll be like, hey guys, thank you so much. And before they've even thanked me properly, they'll be like, everyone hit refresh.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm like, cool, you don't need to thank me, but also like, you're hurting yourself. You will get rejected if Twitch looks at your account and sees that you're doing that. They will just straight up be like, okay, well, you're inflating. We can't trust your numbers. Okay, cool.
Yeah. It's also that thing of like, if I give my community over to somebody else and their immediate thought is, I just need to use you for numbers at the moment to reach my goal of becoming partner, I think that people can see through that more so. And on to your point again, Nick, of in terms of the partner badge, do you know who cares about being partner on Twitch? It's the streamers themselves. The viewers don't give a crap overall. Now, don't get me wrong. There's people in the community who are like so happy for you that you've got the partner badge and everything, but nothing changes content-wise. It's not like you get a golden border around your screen, you push to the, to the moon. It's this weird thing that only streamers care about, because as we talked about in our previous podcast, go check those out as well, is that it literally is just a badge next to your name, more emotes, and maybe possibly question mark some opportunities down the road. It all depends on you at the end of the day. So I would say exactly what Nick is saying, care about the content, because if I put up 10 streams, different streams, right? And I get somebody who doesn't know what Twitch is to come in and click on one of them, guaranteed they're not going to click on the one that has like a tick next to their name, because they probably don't even notice it. They'll probably go with the one with the best thumbnail, the background, things like that. They'll go with the one that's most intriguing. So please remember that once you do, let's just say you hit it, you got your partner, you no longer have to put path to partner in your titles. What happens after that? You've done it, you've reached your goal. What do the community have to do? They have that one day of celebration, and then, as LJ said, there's the partner drop. Think beyond that. Just think about entertain. Don't think about numbers. Think about what's going to do well for you over time and how you can do it consistently, because I know that everybody's got the grind. I did this as well. I'm a victim. This is my mistake. I push a partner. I got partner. Oh my God, I'm on top of the world. Everything was exactly the same afterwards. I just had a little badge next to my name. That was it.
Yep. And the thing, like when people are scrolling down the directory, they're not seeing that. They're not seeing that until they actually click on your stream. And after like Twitch's UI refresh, they made the badge smaller on your profile anyway.
Dude, people still ask me. People ask me in my chat. They go, "Oh, you're a partner?" And I'm like, I panic, right? I panic and go, "Have they fucking removed me? Have I finally gone too far?
They've taken it away." Yeah, it's just, I think like that's the thing. It's I think in this sort of social culture we have, where it's just validation, people just look for validation. That's what that badge means. Like that check mark means you are validated by Twitch, but they hold so much of that validation. And look, don't get me wrong, like it's a hard thing to to completely push out of your brain. Like everyone has aspects of it that's like they feel like once they get that check mark, they feel validated. But at the end of the day, yes, it gives you a bit of merit. It shows that you've put some hard work in. But at the same time, like it's people want it, like I guess the people that want it for the right reasons, they want it. It's a milestone that opens up future things down the road. It's not just the be all end all. Once you get partner, oh yeah, I can quit my job. I'm living the high life, bro. Let's go. And they jump back, then the partner drop happens. They're like, what happened?
Yeah. I think you're right about the opening the doors. And I think it's also surprising. A lot of people don't realize that the opening of the doors is, depending on your region, is not just with like, say, Twitch, right? For example, but also there's partner Discords, which I'm pretty sure we're allowed to mention. I'm pretty sure everyone knows there's partner Discords. But essentially, one of the big things for me is the fact that in those partner Discords, by helping people or engaging with people, it's also really easy to meet new people, right? Like I met Walker Man from the partner Discord. I met a few others from the partner Discord, and they're good people. They're good eggs, right? Yeah. And it's good to have them. I've got them on my Discord friends list now. So if I have a question, I can message them. And you guys now deal with this as well, is that I constantly, every few months, I get really obsessed with one aspect of streaming, and I'll send out like 30 different messages to 30 different people and say, how do you handle Discord go lives? Right. And then all 30 of them reply. I consolidate all the information, ask questions, and then I come back and I go to all of 30 of them. Hi, after talking to 30 people, this is what we've found is the best and most appropriate way to do this. And it's like by having that partner tick, all it means is in those Discords and in Twitch chats, I get noticed a little bit by other creators, and it allows me to collaborate more.
Yes.
Right. And that is the most powerful thing I think about getting partner. That right there, because we don't even get
logo, you just shine it up in the light and hopefully someone comes to your aid. It's exactly that. And don't get me wrong, like I think a lot of people also put precedence on the fact that you must be the greatest creator ever because you've got that Twitch, the Twitch partner tick next to your name.
I kind of am.
I was so Eljay, we obviously know that you're the greatest around, but I'm talking about there's other people that have the Twitch tick next to their name, and they got it through means of because they're a pro player at this game or things like that. And again, we talked about it before in this podcast that people view streams for different reasons, but sometimes it becomes this clutch of like, oh, they must be good. And then when you click on it, it's like, oh, I actually prefer this other streamer who isn't a partner because they just more fit my kind of tone. So you can't put all this faith in a little check mark next to the name. But yes, it definitely does help. It definitely gives you validation, maybe some confidence, but it's not like the be all end all like everybody brings it up to be when they do push to partner, press refresh, all this thing that's so detrimental to you and how you look when doing it. Just focus on the product, focus on yourself, focus on making the stream that at best it can be, because that, again, back to our earlier point, is a content trap. People become streamers because I believe they see streamers doing so well, getting crap ton of money from whatever big things they're doing at the time. And like, I can do that. They're just literally playing a game and talking to chat. It's so easy. And then they do it and realize that, oh, wait, this is actually quite fatiguing. I got to do this every day. I don't have anybody watching me at the moment. How do I get these viewers? It becomes this game outside of streaming, as we talked about as well. The behind the scenes stuff that people don't see is probably, I spend more time behind the scenes than I do in front of the camera. It's not just like I stream and that's it. See you guys later. See you tomorrow. This is great. Wow, wow, wow. You got to think of new engaging ways to keep people attached to your community, attached to your content, and everything in between. So just keep in mind that whatever amount you're streaming, chances are if you're a kind of a big creator, you've got to do double, if not 3 times the work outside of that with your different mediums, YouTube, TikTok and things, and obviously ideas and just everything in between. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it really is. And one thing I want to add as well, it's like if you're growing like on Twitch and someone with a check mark comes in, don't suck up to them because everyone sees through that. Sure.
I suck up. I suck up so hard. I'm like, oh, hey, Wombat, how you doing, man? What's crack-a-lackin'? What are you doing over there? Hey, how you doing? What up? Nick comes in. Oh, hey, Nick. How are you, Nick? What's cracking? Reapz. Everyone knows Reapz.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, definitely.
First thing I did when I got my partner badge was I went through all my favorite streamers that I watch, and I just did my normal, I just chatted a little bit and just saw who paid more attention to me and who didn't. I went into Loser Fruit stream, and someone said something like, oh, do you use a lens cap or whatever it is on your camera, or I'm so nervous whenever I get changed in my stream room. And she said, oh, dude, I don't think any streamer ever gets changed in their stream room or does anything like that. because they're so anxious about the fact that the camera might be on or it's there. I know, at least I'm not. And this is the first message I'd written in Loser Fruits chat. Day one of getting partner. And I just wrote, what? I always get changed in my stream room with the camera opened, lens cap off, because I like the thrill of it. And she reads that out and I'm like, I am done.
Done.
Little did later.
Little did I know I'd play Pummel Party with her 6 months later for Twitch ANZ.
That's that creepy guy gets changed in front of his camera. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, dude, you're playing the long game from the get go.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something interesting, right? We've talked about this a lot with these analytics and talking about the pressures and talking about all these things, right? And the niches and the non-niches. And in that video I mentioned last night, where I talk about how I personally have been struggling a lot over the last 6 months because I started to connect my self-worth to my analytics and to my growth. There was a lot of very positive comments, so please don't take this as a negative thing, because my YouTube channel, I laugh a lot and bring up the negative stuff because it's funny and it's relatable. But I actually have a very, very, very kind YouTube audience. They're very, 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 and I'm saying very a lot here because there's just no words to describe how supportive they actually are. Like the majority of my comments are things like, this is probably one of the best, if not the most honest video you've ever made. I haven't streamed since October because I'm dealing with my analytics, and the way you've laid all of this out, I know in my heart that while I've had some great streams, I had to go on hiatus because the analytics drove me away.
Yep.
The way you've laid, then it goes again, the way you've laid this out, the way you build relationships with viewers, and the way you talk about how you want to make good content rather than just have big numbers is exactly what I need to hear. I'm considering getting back into content creation now, and without this, I would have been so disheartened, right? That's like the majority of my comments.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there's also the small side of things as well, where of people who just have zero understanding, right? And these are all zero viewer streamers most of the time. And they'll say something like this guy. And this guy says to me, if you're streaming because you want to grow and you're streaming because of your analytics and you're focusing on that, then shake my head. You should be doing this because you enjoy it. I thought you of all people would be able to understand that. And that is on a video where I openly talk about how this is a slow descent. This is a dip. This is a thing that happens and gets inside your own head. And it's so interesting, right? Because you know that people like that would be in the exact same situation that like I was in this. And if not, they probably would be much worse in it. They'd be like sucked into it way worse because they don't have the experience of dealing with this, right? And it's super, super interesting. So I think I wanted to read that out. And I want to just point out for a lot of people out there, if you're listening, this may sound like a lot of woe is me or kind of obvious. But when you're doing this day by day and you're kind of constantly being told by your analytics, every time you finish a stream, you get an email from Twitch saying, here are your analytics. Stream Elements will send you an email and they'll say things like, hey, your cheers are up 200%, but your viewership is down 30%.
I hate
right?
that.
And the Twitch one, I don't even know if I can turn off, right?
Yeah.
But like as a content creator, every single thing that you do, it's not like you're actively teaching yourself or saying to yourself, man, I wish my analytics make what's good. Mm-hmm. It's the entire system, the entire industry, the way everything is built from the ground up is designed to tell you this was successful because you got more viewers, more money, more chatters, rather than, hey, you just streamed for this many hours. Now go make a YouTube video out of it. Control, be in control of what you actually are your goals. Your goals can't be measured by you went live for 4 hours and got 100 viewers. Your goal should be, I went live for 4 hours and I made a really good stream, but it can be turned into 20 TikToks and an amazing video forever, right? Or it should be, I watched back my entire stream and I picked out 2 things to improve. And then I went live again later, like in a couple of days. I improved those 2 things. I watched it back. I see I improved those things. Hell yes. Yes, I smashed it. Those should be your goals. But the entire industry, everything about it doesn't tell you to focus on that. It tells you to focus on growth, your analytics, your revenue, your subs. That's why people have sub counters everywhere. That's why people have all these things. And that's totally fine. But it is not something you should blame a streamer for being obsessed with this stuff. And I think just giving the context is so crucial to explain that you can go into this as a hobby. But the moment it stops being a hobby and the moment it starts being something real, like a growth, revenue, money, partnership, then the entire thing starts to push you to intensely look at it from a different angle. And you lose sight of why you enjoyed it and why you started it, AKA your love of entertaining, gaming, or content creation in general, right? Like it's no content creator's fault. It just is a step that everyone has to go through to be better, I think. And that's just at least my context of the whole thing.
No, 100% agree with you. Like, well, yeah, as soon as that this like becomes a main revenue stream for you, like, how many cheers or like, or when your sub count starts to drop, like that will hit you because you know that like that's one of your main revenue streams. And so like it can be really, really tough. And I think like Eljay, I think you can turn the Twitch email like off when it emails after a stream. I'm pretty sure you can turn that off. But
I tried. I'm dumb.
it's somewhere in the email notifications, I swear.
Yeah.
But I ignore all of that, the data stuff that it tells you like afterwards. I mainly look at the graph just to see, like, knowing that okay, here's when I switched to the game from the just chatting, and kind of looking at how the viewer average went over that stream.
Yeah.
Because I don't look at my viewer number while I'm streaming. I completely hide that, so I can just focus on what I'm doing.
Exactly the same. I'm kind of that thing of like work smarter, not harder. And the big thing when I started streaming was obviously you want the viewer count up because you're kind of like, oh, could people actually watching me? Oh my God, I got up to double digits. There was over 10 people watching me play this game. And it's like this great sense of like, yes, I did it. I feel like I'm growing. But there comes a time when I just had to turn it off because, as Eljay said, you're so focused on doing these like analytics, and everything becomes absorbed around it. And I lost all sense of fun. I lost all sense of wanting to create a content rather than just, I need to hit these marks. If I don't hit these marks, I'm a failure. And you feel like crap the rest of the time. And you think to yourself, I'm not sure if this is with you, but sometimes back in the day, it was like, I don't want to stream next time because I did so poorly on this stream. Chances are it's going to go down even further. It's like this fear of failure as well. And I get that a lot. Like I get that a lot, that I have to get myself out of my own head. But don't get me wrong, analytics is so important, like overall, if you do want to grow, if you want to create a business and a brand. I'm just saying that for me, like Nick, I do not look at live viewer count because it just throws me. You just got to know your limits. You got to know what's going to make you feel good, what's going to make you feel bad, and look at it from a constructive point of view rather than from an emotional point of view. And it's hard for me to separate myself from that, but I'm learning to do it. That this is just constructive. There's times when you're going to have not as many people chatting, not as many people watching, and that could be things that are happening in the world. I remember I did a stream on Boxing Day here, which is December 26th, but in America, that's December 25th. And obviously I didn't have a lot of people watching because it's Christmas fucking day. You know what I mean? But you still take that to heart. But then I was like,
and you're in the American time zone as well, to clarify. Reapz does daytime, our time, which is the day before in America. So it was literally most of your audience, I believe, is American.
Correct. Yes. Well, I would say the majority are American. So yeah, and that's for me as well, is that you got to know that it's going to happen. And as we talked about before, community either go away or they, live their lives, which is an amazing thing to do. I don't expect myself to be watching Twitch for 5 years, 10 years, or whatever it is, all the time and getting people up. You have to focus on yourself. And that's what I keep telling people when they give bits, subs, or follows and everything. It's like, thank you so much for this, but please always put yourself first before myself. And obviously that can sound very hollow or conceited, or like I'm just saying it for the sake of saying it, but I do say it. However you want to vilify it or vilify me, whatever. But it really is a fact of just like, what is going to work best for you? How are you going to deal with it? Because don't get me wrong. Here's the story. The first time I ever streamed, the first time I ever hit go live was back in March of 2017. And you know what the first person, the first person said to me? Somebody came into my chat, and the first thing followers? Nothing, just like nothing. And they type in big capital letters, cuck. And that was the first. That was the first.
Wow.
I'm really sorry about that, by the way.
This is why I had to reach out to you and go, why would you do that, man? This was back in the day. Like, that was the first ever thing. So you've got to have a hard skin as well, because if you look at what's going online in terms of Twitter, and we're going to date the podcast again here, but with the whole Pokemon Gideon thing, and like, it really crazy, you're not safe. You're like, you are going to be put under a spotlight if you blow up. No matter what you do, you are going to be put on a spot. There's always going to be a controversy, and it's always going to be brought up on some sort of forum within your chat, within another community, and you've got to deal with it. And that's a really hard thing to do. So if you've got a thin skin, maybe it's not best for you until you start developing a tougher skin or more of a headstrong attitude going in, because these are anonymous people online, with the name like Pimp Master. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know who they
Booty
are.
Man 69.
They can just type whatever they want to you. And sure, it can be deleted by the mods. It can be deleted by the security, the Twitch mod security, whatever it is, the block things, but you can still see it. and it still is going to affect you. It affects me some days. Some days I'm like, oh, whatever. But other days when I'm feeling, tired or weak or anything, then yeah, it goes off like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
dude.
it's the mental stress is so tough, and that's why I almost feel like if you grow way too quickly, it can also be a detriment to you as
Yeah.
well, because you don't get to put the time in to learn about the process and what's involved with it, the struggles, and to be able to build that hard skin to be a face on the internet, no matter how large. Like as you grow, there's so many factors start coming in, and yeah, if you blow up too quickly, either you won't know how to continue making content long term because you blew up so quickly, you're like, I can just do this and it worked.
Yeah.
Or you get so many eyes on you, and you slip up and it's like, oh, there's some negative reaction to that. It's like, oh, okay, I didn't realize that this could happen. I thought I could just still just be me and do whatever I want. Like it's so tough. And talking about the mental stresses and how worth it content creation is, that's something we will definitely talk about way more in depth in a future podcast. But I reckon that's a good time to wrap up, I think, guys.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah.
On the topic of mental stresses, I want to add one quick thing. And all that is the fact that on Friday night, last Friday, I did a stream and it was a bit rough. Okay. I think on Friday night, I did a stream where it was human benchmark tests. So it was my wife and I did the human benchmark test, and whoever lost each round had to have a bean boozled, right? And I thought it'd be a fun video idea as well as a fun stream. Stream idea, 90 average viewers. Okay. One of my slowest nights ever, one of my smallest unique chatters. Okay. And I don't care. It actually didn't affect me whatsoever. And this is how I know that I'm in a better place these days, is because I did that whole stream. It was really fun. I enjoyed it. The analytics are trash the entire time, right? It's a really rough stream. And I think that's really funny, right? Because I didn't care about that, but other people did. Because other people put comments on my YouTube channel being like, man, you're clearly falling off. I don't know why I'd listen to you. You only got 90 average viewers. But also, again, that doesn't bother me. And the reason, because I did that stream with two goals in mind. One, I wanted to have a really fun stream with my wife because my chat loves her. And two, I also wanted to make a YouTube video out of it.
Yep.
I thought it'd be a funny video idea. I've watched back that entire VOD, and I think it'll be a really good and fun video to make.
Yeah.
That is my goal from that, right? And I think that is such a crucial step. And I've mentioned it a few times, but it's just like, I wanted to give a personal example, because the idea of hating or looking at something and going, 90 average viewers, you normally get 130. Come on, man. It's like, yeah, but it's a brand new thing I've never done before. It's hard to explain as a packaged piece of content for a go live. If people jump into it halfway through, it's kind of rough. It's a collab, so people aren't really actively chatting either.
Yeah.
Like, there are so many other factors that will cause the average viewership to be low. And they don't even realize that that's not even the goal.
Yeah.
Right?
They look at it so surface level, not kind of taking a moment to think, be like, wait, is he actually trying something else? Like people still look at streams like, no, you're just streaming. You're like, what do you mean you're streaming to do something else, to do it somewhere else?
Yeah. And that's the thing. I was there, LJ, and I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought the chemistry that obviously you should have with your wife was really on point. It was just like a nice atmosphere. It was really kind of, chill is not the right word I'm looking for, but it was like, it was like looking into kind of like a somebody's life and just how they connect. And over this game of a human benchmark test, it was just a lot of fun. Like, people just seemed to be joking around and having a really nice time. It wasn't this like, holy shit, I'm in the final 5 of, Apex Legends. And if I did, that kind of different vibe to it. And it was really nice. And I think people need to understand as well that, yes, you are going to have ideas and you're going to do them for YouTube content. And sure, your viewership may tank, but also think of the other side of the coin, which is basically, you may have an idea and it may pop the fuck off. And people are like, this is now a staple because that was genius. You should do more of this. And then you've got a whole YouTube series and a Twitch series that you can do each and every week. So you've got to put yourself out there. Yes, there's going to be more failures than successes, but that's life in general. So
had that too.
I just feel like the thing that's so shocking to me is the fact that the guy who comments that on my video, right, saying like, come on, man, 90 average, really, has like 2-3 viewers, right? And that's not an insult to him. I'm not insulting him for that, right? But at the same time, I know he wants to be a content creator because he's watching guides about how to be a content creator. And it just is so clear to me that if someone was saying that to him, and it's so clear to me that he's putting all of his eggs in this one idea, he's putting all of his worth in that one number,
Yeah.
that I know he's going to go through a really shit time.
Yeah.
If he sees drops, it is going to affect him, because clearly me having a drop has affected him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's so sad, isn't it? Like, that's so sad that so quickly you can identify that someone is putting their attention and their energy on something that is going to cause them to struggle immensely.
Yeah.
And have huge issues. And I don't wish that on anyone. I don't wish anyone to have it. And I say that sometimes. Someone will be like, oh, dude, that stream you did really fell off. And I'll be like, hey, man, you're trying to be a content creator. I hope that you never have any kind of backsteps.
Yeah.
I hope you never have any kind of backslides. I hope you never suffer a single challenge. But if you do, I hope that not a single person brings it up to you and tries to rub it in your face.
Yeah.
What do they say? They can't say anything to that, right?
No,
Yeah, that's a really nice way of putting it and phrasing it.
Very good way. Just to quickly say, it's hard for me to catch, obviously your night streams, because I also stream nights as well. But I watched your TikToks where your wife was guessing Pokemon. Hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely
Amazing. Fantastic. Good TikTok content, and good for a solo YouTube video as well. And I think people just need to realize that. It's fantastic.
That was a good podcast, boys. I liked it.
I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. And thank you again for listening, everyone. If you've come this far, feel free to obviously, again, we're going to keep spruiking, but we do have obviously a YouTube. We're available on all podcasts. Tell your friends, tell your family, anyone who's interested in becoming a content creator, and please give us suggestions or ideas or even questions. Below.
Questions.
Yes, questions. We are going to pick somebody at the moment each week on YouTube, and hopefully we can delve a bit more into it if you do have pressing questions. But fellas, thank you so much again, and we'll see you next week. Any last words? Anything you want to spruik your Twitches, your YouTubes, your Twitters before you head off?
I fell off. Ratio plus L.
Yeah.
Not based.
Oh my gosh. If you're gonna take anything, just I get the simplest TLDR is just focus on content, having fun. That's good. Recycle it for other platforms.
And that's it. From us at the Stream Room, we're logging off. Have a good one. Till next week. Bye-bye. Bye.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.